It is our pleasure to introduce director for the movie Snälla Kriminella, or The Most Unwanted, as I remember in English.
Yeah, the English title, yeah.
Yeah, which had premiere actually yesterday. It was opening movie in our Fortezza International Film Festival, which was a little bit important for us since last year we didn't have any festival. This year it was not easy to find production that was done during this isolation period. Anyhow, your movie were done during this period, and we are lucky to get that movie actually, to have something to say, okay, now in the people in Nordic did something, even it was almost impossible to work. So thank you for participation. And well, the first question used to be how come the idea about the movie Snälla Kriminella, like creamy comedy, something like that, new genre probably.
Yeah, it's action comedy, a very American style idea, Swedish American action comedy, which well, that was the main idea, to make just pure comic relief for the audience. I think everybody needed that after Corona, or just to have something to just have fun with. And the two main characters, Simon and Babak, that Sassan and Babu in the movie, they've done a lot of sketches, just small sketches, where they have played these nice criminals or polite criminals or whatever you can call them. So we kind of based the whole movie on those characters.
Okay, and you yourself, as I have in a biography, you started with as a comedian, then you went behind the cameras, and it is your first fiction.
Yeah, it's my first feature film. I've only done some short TV series before and pilots, and so it was quite exciting to actually have a debut with such an action-filled movie.
Yeah, and to reach like a comedy. Comedy is not easy genre, especially not to, okay, in local level, one can be, I mean, it can be like interesting or funny, but how to reach international public, it is also one, another question, especially with the comedy.
It is, because it's pretty different in different countries, what kind of comedy you like and the comedy styles, and some variations with the language as well. This is, as I said, very American in its style. So we kept to like the American genre, and a bit abstract also with some. But I love comedy. Comedy, I think that's the purest and nicest. I mean, if you could, I think Woody Allen once said that the onion can make anybody cry, but tell me which vegetable that makes you laugh. And I think that's so good. It's so hard to make comedy that works for everybody.
Actually, yes. Because, you know, drama almost cannot make mistake. Well, drama is a drama is a drama, whatever you do. But the comedy is not always comedy, even if one think it is funny.
I know, and it's so easy for somebody to say that I didn't like it. I didn't think it was funny because of their mood or whatever.
Wait a second, sound disappeared.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
good.
Here, I'll hold this. No, I just think comedy is such a great genre. If it works, it's just great. I mean, I love making people happy and making them laugh. Yeah. I'm from the comedy world, so.
What we find actually in the premiere, it was because, you know, this city is small, and right now is a lot of tourists, but we have also a lot of domestic people who are living here, even if it's a small city or village, but it is not correct to say village on the seaside, old town. But I find out that most of the young people who were there, who recognize the persons who are like YouTuber, who are existing, this like for me actually uncovered or very unknown known part of society. Why did you find them? I mean, how come collaboration?
I think it's funny to have some, or cameos is my favorite part. Having really famous people, they're famous in Sweden, making these small cameo parts. I just thought that was part of the humor as well, putting them in parts that you might not see them in usually. Uh, like one of he's a big YouTuber, the one that plays the music producer in the film. And he's like a very people only seen him do music, and he's really a nice, lovable character, and we kind of tried to make him into an asshole instead, which I thought was funny, and he also enjoyed. So it's just fun to show people, and especially the comedian in the movie. He's played of my husband, because that's my husband in real life. Okay. And he's the sweetest person in the world. And in Sweden, he's known for being very kind and sweet and never jokes behind, I mean, below the belt. So I thought it was really funny making him into this like horrible person. Yeah, bad guy. So that was also, I just like playing around with
the ideas, yes, or prejudice we have.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I find out very interesting your input in like a critical opinion, or as we say, prejudice, even with a Swedish system, because Swedish system is like welfare and everything is fine, and we are high standard, and we should think about pollution, we should think about everything which is possible to think on a right level. We will think about that, and then as weight, as eating, as so many subjects, and suddenly you are making a little bit joke about that. I mean, you as background, you are Swedish, or how is your life? Have you lived all the time in Sweden, or?
Father's American, so I'm half Swedish, half American.
Okay. Wait a second. Is it something? Is your microphone is cutting somewhere? Just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, is it better now, or?
Yeah. Now
I'll just hold it.
Huh? Mm-hmm.
So actually, all of us that wrote the movie have different backgrounds, because the two main characters, they have a Iranian, a Persian background, and no, the producer is all Swedish, but he's in, I mean, we're pretty continental or international in our way of thinking. So I wanted to just show the Swedish audience something different. I think that was our main goal.
Because, when somebody comes from outside, he sees better something which people who are in the same group for a long time don't actually reach. And it is very obvious that you actually find that approach, which is very, how can I say, international.
We were hoping to go for that.
Yeah, for me, since it was introduced like, well, it's a comedy, that we have old anthology movies within comedy, Just Ekman and this old fashion school somehow, but it is not nowadays to make a good comedy if it's not just comedy about, how can I say, something which is like too much surface, and then don't touch this deeper level of just joy for joy reason. And when I saw the first time the movie, it was on SVT, I was just thinking, okay, let's check what is this in case we select this movie. And it was like, okay, one joke was good, and one second joke was even better. And then came just joke after joke, which actually reached me in a way that there is no so many this kind of movies actually that one can see that somebody from outside was rethinking Swedish system in some very polite and fine and comic way, which actually communicate with the public. So I think that your comedy is very serious comedy, actually.
Yeah, we tried to make it a smart satire, and I'm really happy to hear that you enjoyed the comedy, because that was the main goal for
Yeah,
the whole film.
because it was, it was like, haha, this is funny, haha, okay, this is incredible, because it's always coming something which is very unexpected, which is okay for the comedy, but it goes in this like free way and reaching exactly the very, how can I, sensitive points,
Mm-hmm.
which is not easy, to critique on things. It is not okay to critique this way of thinking, but anyhow, you managed to do that. Okay, movie is
Thank
now.
you.
Yeah, well, our festival, we really try to move Nordic countries somehow closer to the Balkans, and it is this nice city, and we are traveling around. So I used to find something which can speak actually with the public here, because to give some local stuff, absolutely yes, Nordic drama, Nordic noir and things like that. They already have a lot of them, but to have these movies that are not coming so often here, and to actually communicate through the movies with a wider public, at least here in the Nordic countries, to introduce them here. Okay, as I understood, you are director, and it is your first feature, but you wrote the scenario where you were alone, or you were with a few?
The film?
Yes.
No, we wrote it together. Yeah, it was
Okay.
the four of us. So the two main characters and the producer and we wrote it all together.
Okay, it is like a little
So
factory.
that was a very interesting process, being four screenwriters, head writers. So
Okay, and how many of you were? Okay, you have one producer, which is thinking like I can see selling project, selling perspective, and three of you were a comedian, isn't it? Or
yeah, and the producer also worked a lot with comedy. So all of us
okay,
had worked a lot with comedy. So
okay,
we really worked on trying to make it as funny as possible. And then
okay. Well,
after writing the script, then we took our different parts, and my part was just, okay, I have to try to make this as close as we wanted it to be. And
okay,
the main characters, they have been working with YouTube stuff, and they worked a lot together, so they knew each other and they knew what they
yeah,
could do, and
and
they have a very nice connection between them. And
yes, but are they all like your old friends, or just you met first for the first time to work together?
One of them, a guy that plays Sassan, Simon Gareshibi, he actually is a stand-up comedian. So I knew him from stand-up, but we haven't really worked together before. But I always admired his stuff and thought he was really great, and he's a good writer and good comedian.
Okay.
The other guy was just his friend, so we had never met before, and I had never worked with a producer either. So we had just had a coffee, and then we it was the four of us. So that was also a very interesting experience.
Okay. But anyhow, nobody is like a manuscript and going home to sleep. Everybody is some kind of involved in whole process of the filmmaking, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is great, Dan. It is great because, if you take outside for the script writer, it is okay. But anyhow, he just leaving and then leaving all the work. Actually, you could almost make it through how was on the set? You start on March last year. It was like the beginning of Corona.
Exactly. We started, I think the exact day, same day where the restrictions started, we started filming. So it was pretty difficult. Okay. And I think the most difficult part was locations, because a lot of the locations, they didn't want us to film there, which is understandable. So we had to replan our shootings and our camera angles and everything, and just get new locations, and it was quite a hassle.
Okay, and but how did you manage this? It's not isolation, but anyhow, the prevention. I mean, masks, distance, things like that. How was to work with that? I mean, since it was like in the beginning and nobody knows nothing.
I know, so that was the problem. So in Sweden, we didn't really. Well, first, our restrictions weren't as hard. We didn't have any lockdowns, or we just kept on working, and you didn't really know, and we didn't wear masks at all in the beginning. Nobody in Sweden did. So I think we tried to keep some distance, but it's hard, you know, you're filming in a small apartment. It's just hard to keep distance. And people did get sick, but they weren't allowed to come to the job. So then they had to stay home. So we were always under, we didn't have enough people on set like the entire time, it felt like, because you had to stay at home if you had the least cold or anything.
Okay.
But I thought the hardest part from the directing perspective, it was that you couldn't really go close to your actors. You had to keep a distance all the time. And that's pretty hard because sometimes you just want to like put your hand on somebody's shoulder, or just, if it's been a hard day, give them a hug or something. So I think that's the part that was really frustrating through as a director. And you always had to keep like a distance to all your actors, even when you're giving instructions.
Oh,
that can be quite hard.
Yes, and I can imagine. I don't remember. Could we come to the bar? No, that time was the closing. Yeah.
No, so everything was closed afterwards, and that's also
Yeah.
a part that I found really difficult, because if you had a long day's work, you would like to just ventilate and talk about it and stay grab a drink with the rest of the crew or something, and we just couldn't. You just had to go home and be by yourself, and then next day work, and no wrap parties, no, because sometimes, you know, it gets pretty like intense on set and you need some kind of relaxations, but no, it was all keeping tense until the next day.
Well, it was like a moment that you said, like isolations, because one subject that we would like to take here, like what means isolation for one creative person, in our case in a movie. Is it something which is nice? I mean, since we all create by ourselves, but anyhow, film is little bit crowded. It needs a little bit relations, communications, even, as you say, touch moments and things like that. Was that what was your thoughts about isolation? I mean, this last 1.5 years, how did you manage with yourself as creator?
Well, fortunately, Sweden has been pretty light on the restrictions. So I think, and since I'm a writer most of the time, and it hasn't been any productions, I haven't had any productions after we did Snälla Kriminella. So for me, just writing, you can do wherever you want to, but it's I really miss like the social parts, because that's when the creativity really gets going, and you get all your ideas and just being out. Exactly. But then it's good because we could always be outside, so I could always take a walk with friends and just try to. I'm a very, very social person as well, so the isolation has been very bad for me.
But anyhow, you keep on working, and it is great. Somehow movie, I think in instead for festivals and cinema like cinema, like biografer, it was like it was hard stuff. I mean, closing them, but anyhow, production were working still, having crew numbers, can manage relations, because I find out that anyhow film was made, few films were made like during this period, which was not so bad.
No, and especially TV series, because a lot of people, they just stayed at home and they needed things to watch as well. So the writers have been really, really busy, because I never think they had this much just things in development.
Actually, yes. Well, but we are now on the level that everything is on digitalization. We are sitting home and just streaming, watching, and things like that, which I'm not sure that could be our future. I mean, we can now open a huge subject, but it is really a big subject, because movie has that, how can I say, word is forgotten. But anyhow, quality of film is to have two natures. One which is outside, like coming out in the cinemas, having this physical version, and with digitalization, everything just went out. I think the festivals had more problem. I mean, talking about biggest ones, Cannes and things, which is film promotion, which is giving somehow film credits. How do you feel this year regarding the festivals and regarding your movie?
We decided on not putting it out in the cinemas because the cinema they only allowed 8 people. So we decided, okay,
Not
we'll just
ethical almost to call them to cinema.
yeah, I know. So, and the film was ready. It was ready to be shown. So, but I really, really miss because I think this is a movie that I'd like a gang of youngsters, teenagers to go out and watch and just laugh together. Because it's so seldom when you get the good comedy on the movie theater, that's the best feeling because then you can laugh together. Otherwise, you just sit in your own little with your headphones movie. And yeah. So I'm sorry that we never got to do these big screenings. We did some smaller screenings, and those were fun, and I really enjoyed having people close together with us.
Yeah. And then when did you reach some festivals?
Yes, so the movie was, especially American festivals picked it up, and that was fun because we even we got some prizes from Chicago and New York, and I think LA as well. so they had some special comedy prizes, and I'm very happy that we won those. But I also think that they could recognize the humor because it's American. It's very American in its style.
Yeah. Okay, and you are now working on some new projects. Is it some, okay, first, is it some TV series on the way or in some future perspective, or it will be some totally new project?
Right now I'm working on totally new projects. So they're just in development. That's most of the job. It's just developing stuff. It feels like. So.
Yeah. Okay. How long?
So we're not very far in.
Yeah. How long time did you took? I mean, for this, did you take for this?
This was very quick, actually. It was. I think we had 1 year of getting it financed, and from script to financed. Okay. It was about a year, and then we filmed it in 27 days. And then editing and sound. The sound took quite a while to get the sound ready for, and some special effects as well. So altogether, we started 2019. So it's pretty quick for being a film.
But you have 4 people that are doing in a crew, which make a little bit probably things happen faster. I don't know, or it could be even worse. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite hard for 4 very creative people that have their own wills.
Yeah.
So, but I like that it was a group effort.
Yeah,
this movie was really a group effort.
And you had also one great photographer. I can.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful, and Bratislav
Stankovic. Yes, it's like also Balkan Connection, which was also extra plus. Which was also extra plus for me, also to have his. Is it his first fiction? No.
No, he'd done another one before that also was released
I know
this
that
year.
It is like in the beginning. I know that he'd done, but I was also grateful that he is there, and he was he is very interesting guy, and he was. But I think that his personality is somebody who is not telling, "Oh, this is great and nice," and he was like, I don't know, just check it.
Yeah.
How it will be.
I love that. But I love working with it because the reason that he did the photography was because we had worked together on a small TV series before. And I think after the first meeting with Bratti, I was scouting for photographers. And I was just like, oh, this is so right. He's like the best person for me to work with. And he's very creative, and he does like a lot with just small means. I mean, and he always wants to improve stuff, and he has very many ideas. He's great to work with. A lot of fun. Very much temper though. So you just have to get used to his temper.
But it is okay.
But he's
Good
great.
for comedy. I mean,
Yeah.
well, you actually were, how can you say, you were tvungen, so you must deal with the different wheels. I can imagine that comedy is not like easy stuff. It is like, this is not okay, this is okay. I mean, how it works with the comedy, if you are four of you are thinking about one joke, how do you find out which one is the best one?
I think we had the luxury of actually trying quite a lot as well. We didn't have a lot of time since they're so experienced comedians. We could try and do some different takes and then editing most of the jokes. Were chosen. So that's actually better. The producer
Is wrong. I don't know what's happened. I didn't hear anything. I don't know, was it with us, our connection? Did you hear me fine?
I don't know.
Something's breaking.
No, you're frozen.
Well, internet, how can I say? Everything is fine, everything is in place. And you're a little bit frozen now. Do you see me normally? No, somebody will disappear, I think so here. Let us check what's going on.
No. You're frozen.
It's a little bit. I heard you telling frozen.
Okay, that's my internet.
Uh-huh, okay. Okay, let us see if it comes better. Probably now, I don't know. It's still a little bit frozen. It goes a little bit slower.
My internet, I'm sorry.
Can you try once again, just reconnect, probably just to renew a relation.
Let's try. Shall I leave or?
Yeah, I think that you leave and then try to once again come in. Just reconnect. I don't know how to function.
Yeah.
Just awake internet. I don't know what we can do now.
I can't even leave the meeting.
Mm-hmm. Now, probably now is better. I don't know. You are not frozen any longer, as I see.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
yeah, because no. It might be my internet as well.
okay, now it's fine. Probably it was just
Okay.
one wave of some non-communication. I don't know. Now it's fine. Okay, where we were.
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay, it was like DP, like Brati was, collaboration with him was great.
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking about lots of details. Anyhow, what is the stuff you are thinking right now? Yes,
About...
I remember now. How you four come out with a good joke.
Oh wait, how did? Oh yeah, yeah. No, as I told before the internet connection,
Huh?
that I think we had the opportunity to try out a lot of jokes, and then the person that actually shows which ones to keep were the editor and the producer. So we had all kinds of jokes that we edited out. So we just like kept.
But wait a second, was editor also involved in this preparation period?
Actually, he was involved in the script writing as well, which is really, really cool.
Fifth person.
Very cool and a very good. I do recommend the people to have editors involved early on.
Okay, great.
So he knew exactly, because we edited at the same time we were shooting, and then he edited. So I got dailies every day, and he knew the story and had.
Okay. Well, very great idea, because I was just wondering, everybody has their own way to work, and it was really good to know that actually editing in this comedy is a question of time, also of rhythm, and it is very it's almost bright, excellent to think that to have him in the beginning, like what makes stuff working.
Yeah, it was great. This very great group collaboration. The
Yeah.
only thing, it's funny that the editor was very sweet, so he edited out everything he thought was too much. He's like, no, that's too hard, that's too harsh. And we're like, okay.
Okay, well, you will say that it will be also much harder things, because we were here outside of the Paris, and Paris is like culture, heritage and stuff like this, and suddenly you come with the young people there doing fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. It's like,
I know.
I was like,
Yep.
not now.
Not very good.
No.
Yep.
I was like, but it is not me, it is them, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, because here is, you know, when you are surrounded with this cultural stuff around, and the people who are, you know, a little bit engraved in this way of thinking, so these radical words could be a little bit understood on another way. But anyhow, it goes with the jokes, and the people understood that it is like a
Yeah,
joke.
but
But I
still.
can imagine, think one who is just coming out about what they are doing now. But I said, okay, let's shake it a little bit to get that spirit from the north. Okay, so things you are thinking right now, it's also comedy, and it's like, imagine few projects too.
Yep, it's always
What's one
comedy.
project?
Yeah, right now I'm also working with a comedy show, a panel show, so I write jokes just for comedians. So that's also my daily work.
Daily work. And where did you find your inspiration? Within you or outside, or?
For just comedy, or
Comedy.
for writing jokes, or I mean, it's just, I was about to say, it's just a job. It's just a job. Just been practicing. It's like being a plumber.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to lay any plumbing.
Okay. Well, it is spirit. I remember we had one satire magazine, which is when you cut your hair. Igelkotta. What's the name of igelkotta in English?
Hedgehog?
I mean, this with this.
Yeah, a hedgehog.
Hedgehog. Okay, cut clipped igelkotta.
Yep.
That's the name of that. And it was one group of very funny, also adult youngs, I can say. They're just making joke after joke after joke in daily basis. I mean, in daily communication, in every single moment of their life, it's just seeing from a joke perspective. And I was young actress, and I said, well, how you manage that, you know, since comedy is part of the acting too? He said, well, it's just a practice. Come and enjoy us.
Yep, it's just practice. It's just practice.
Answer. I mean, just hang with us. I said, okay, and you will start to rethink your thoughts. How do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So it is the same pattern then.
Yep.
In the rest of the world, because I was thinking, okay, they're the way to work, but it is not probably. Okay, well, are you planning some stage work, or you are now only behind camera?
No, I just like being behind the camera, and I like finding talents.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you so much for conversation. In 2 days, we will have one panel conversation with a woman director, and I would like to invite you to be part of this dialogue with the local directors and you as the one from North. And also it is very funny to have one comedy director with a creamy genre who is a woman.